Hey, 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 hey. Check. Checkin', check, 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 check. Checkity, check, 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 check. Hi. Hello, everyone. How you doing? Today is Thursday, August 28th, 2025. How's everybody doing? Can you hear me? I believe you can. Great. Hey, Ed. What's up? How you doing? Thanks for coming out. Checking tendies. Awesome. SP 1200 planning, hey? Here we are. We are very close. We are within we're we're close to September. Yo, Brian, what's up? How you doing? Abnorm. Oh, we found the everybody's here. Well, you know, so that's good. The usuals, the usual suspects are here, which is great. Thanks for coming out, guys. Um, so man, what if I could summarize the last 2 weeks of working on this stuff? Uh, how would I describe it? Here, I'll describe it. This is how I'm going to describe it. That's how I describe my last couple weeks with some of this stuff. Holy moly. Hey, thanks. Thank you. Appreciate that, man. It's coming around, you know? It's definitely coming. I'm gonna do like a final video at some point. It's not top priority right now because this SP 1200 is more top at this point. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy. I got like 4 computers set up because you need 4 computers. I've got my yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, I got like a music computer, so I got my all my, I can listen to stuff while I'm working now. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks. That's what I was going for, you know. A little more raw, if you will. Um, yeah. And then I've got a computer that I do all my, my I don't know what you call it, my downloads and stuff, so I don't have to, because I'm on some private music websites. So I use a computer for that, and then I've got another laptop set up that is just doing pure data. It's just for pure data. It's going to be generating random drum stuff in the future. I might do a video about it because it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat how it's coming along. I haven't really been working on it though. But anyway, where are we? What's been else has been going on? I've just been working on this well, I don't want to say stupid, but I just this really complex um time division multiplexing stuff. It's whew, I tell you. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Well, this is like the workshop area, right? And so the ceiling's still exposed and stuff, so I'm not too worried about dust and all that kind of crap over here. When on the other side is still kind of my music making area. This side's just for like all the workshop stuff now. Um, but anyway, where do we begin on our journey here? Where should I begin on our journey? Let's, you know what? I did get parts since the last time we saw each other. I got these SD card modules. These are this guy. So that's cool. These little micro SD card modules. These are the one that I bought is in the data sheet, or not the data sheet. Jeez, in the yeah. You know what, Abnorm? Hold off on parts right now, um, just because I'm still still fleshing things out, um, and I'll definitely yes, yes, we will definitely get you on that. Um, but just hold off for right now because there's still some bits and pieces that I want to figure out, and I have some things that I've learned in my development phase so far that I think is going to be useful. Um, uh, in the future. So, anyways, this is the SD card module, which is cool. I got these little faders for my faders. You can get them. We haven't got to the case yet. No, we haven't got to the case yet. But I got these little shorter faders. They're not as long as the SP 1200, but I think it would be cooler to get it. I'm gonna do a little smaller form factor, and with these, right, they're just 10K pots, so you can kind of, you know, um, play with the sizing of it and stuff. So if you're looking for more of like a full-sized fader, those are always available. But these little guys are the ones that I'm using. Um, haven't really got around to buttons yet. Probably something similar to what I used on the ESP32 SK1 sampler. Um, uh, because they respond pretty well, but I'm still not sure about it. I was thinking about maybe getting those mechanical faders or buttons like that you use for like a keyboard, like a typing keyboard, like the old school typing keyboards. So I'm thinking about that because I've read that those are really really nice, and they probably are very more similar to the uh, what do you call it? They're more similar to the SP 1200. 35 millimeter faders. I can tell you in 1 second. Actually, I think I have they are 30 millimeters. They're 30 millimeters. I follow a guy who built an SP 1200 from scratch. Yeah, I'd like to see that too. Yeah. Oh, okay. The Snapbeat guy I've seen. Yeah, yeah. Um, uh, we're, like, and the way that he does multi-channel. Yeah, it's still hurt. Um, okay, hold on 1 sec. Let me just get to all these comments here. So I followed the guy. Okay, so yeah, we'd like to see that. If you could, Abnorm, I know that you can't paste links into the chat. So if you could drop a link in the comments, maybe when the live stream's over, just so we can take a look at it. But I know the Snapbeat guy. Um, the Snapbeat guy does multi-channel audio a little bit differently than the way that we're going to be doing it. And I'll get to that because it's not, we'll get to it. And then Brian's mentioning that his brain hurts. Yes, mine still is, and it's still a work in progress for sure. Is it MKS Rec? Oh, okay. So Ed might know this guy. Okay, and then Abnorm, will there be cutoff and red filter? If so, I think those should be separate on the unit's panel. Okay. Um, I mean, I think that's stuff that's coming down the pipe. Um, I've kind of as I've been working on this, I've been kind of having I've had an epiphany in terms of kind of how we should approach this. That it's probably not the most what's the word I'm looking for? It's probably not the most glamorous way to do it. But I think it's gonna make it it'll make things a lot clearer for people. Um, and so I guess we should just get into that part of it. Um, actually, you know what? I changed my mind. Um, Let me just walk through kind of like where I am in terms of um, the time division multiplexing and kind of like my journey the past couple weeks. One thing that I want to mention is the first thing off the bat is that I bought um, some of the S3s off of Amazon. The ones I believe that I mentioned in the last live stream that they were like three for $30 and they were like a no name kind of company sort of situation. And I have to say, it has been nothing but headaches with these modules. Um, it's like, so yeah, it's just like, it has been such a hindrance to the progress that I've been making. Uh, and yeah, it's been extremely frustrating. Oh, I forgot to mention, I got this. I got this. The screen. I forgot to mention. Sorry, I just want to mention that I got the screen. And just so you have frame of reference, this was the original screen that I had, and this is the new screen that I have. So that's quite a bit bigger. But this is also off Amazon, so hopefully this works okay. But anyways, um, yeah. So I was working with this module, this guy for a while, and uh, literally out of nowhere, it like wouldn't connect to my computer over USB for whatever reason. I wasn't even doing anything, fancy at all. I wasn't doing anything weird with the power. Um, you know, uh, all that stuff. And it, I don't know what happened, but a couple of the diodes on this board completely died on me. And like, I maybe used it for, I don't know, it was maybe like 2 or 3 days worth of testing of, setting up the PCM 5102, that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, what, like, how is, with the other sampler that I made, I was using an official Espressif module, like a development module, and I never had any issues with it whatsoever. And, you know, I went and bought these cheap modules, and then, of course, they go kaputs on me. And just to prove that I'm not mental, about it, this module that I'm using right now in this circuit that I've got built, which I'll show you guys in a second, um, uh, it as of last night, um, I was having issues with it. All of a sudden, uh, the serial printing, like in the serial monitor and the Arduino IDE, just stopped working completely on me. And the board's still connected to the computer okay, everything like that. And I was just trying to get the SD card module hooked up so that I could play WAV files. And yeah, just completely stopped working. So I started doing, so it takes me like 4 hours to troubleshoot the stupid thing. And it turned out that I had a corrupt bootloader on the module. So I had to re it didn't take me very long to do this, but then I had to reburn the bootloader onto the chip and then uh and then do it, and then re-upload my code and then try and test it again. But I didn't even get a chance to test it um later this morning because I was running around this morning uh after my kids woke up. So anyways, so needless to say, um yeah, it felt like a huge waste of time and it just like a total time suck. So my thought is that for myself, you don't have to do what I'm doing, but for myself, I'm going to just find an official Espressive Dev module and buy it and buy a couple of them. Now, the thing is they're like I think they're like $25 each on DigiKey. There might be cheaper versions of it like floating around on Mouser and stuff like that. In fact, actually the electronics store by my house might have um, some better modules as well, or official modules. And but yeah, I've had such a bad experience, and so I'm not going to probably be using these specific modules uh, for anything else in this project because it just takes way too long to figure out what the heck is wrong with it. You know what I mean? Um, so that's part one of my issues that I've been having. Um, Part two uh, comes down to our multiplexer that I had chosen. Um, the multiplexer, the CD4051BE is the one that I'm using, which is a, fine little multiplexer and, kind of one of those things that it's, um, I don't think I really had a grasp on how to properly set up and operate the IC. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. But you know, uh, you know, I really should have taken my time with the data sheet um, before hooking it up and trying to get a really good understanding on this because I wasted a lot of time going around in circles trying to figure out how to make it how to make it work properly, how to make it switch cleanly. And as I said, you know, is it's partly my fault um, why it didn't, why it took so long. Right, right. So, what did I learn? Well, let me get my phone and hopefully it won't. I'm going to try and be as steady as possible while I film this for you guys. Um, just give me one sec. I'm just going to boot up QuickTime here so I can show you guys what we've got here. All right. Just get this out of the way. You know what? I'm just so you guys know, I'm not going to see the chat. I'm not going to be able to see the chat at the moment because I've got my phone in my hand and I have to minimize OBS here. Okay. So just so you know, I'm just going to kind of walk through um, what kind of like the process that I kind of went through as I was trying to get the 4051 to work. Um, so I'm just going to minimize this and then off we go. Okay. All right, here we go. I'll try to be as steady as possible. Um, see if I can get it to lock. Okay. Hopefully this looks okay. All right. Okay. So here's my PCM 5102, right? Now, the thing with the PCM 5102 is that it outputs the voltage level is 2 volts peak to peak, right? So that means plus and so plus 1 and minus 1, right? So we need, so with the CD 50, the CD 50, 50 or 4051, it's finicky, right? Because you can power this thing a whole bunch of different ways. You can do it in single supply mode, you can do it in dual supply mode. Single supply mode, I believe the maximum voltage is about 20 volts. And in dual supply mode, you want it between um, plus, what is it? Plus and minus 3 and plus and minus 10. Okay. So the one thing is that so let me back up for a second. Sorry. So my initial thought was, well, I'll just take the PCM uh, 5102 and I'll offset it. Oh, sorry. Geez. Wait a second. I forgot an important point. So depending on how you power the 4051, that basically tells you what the level of the common input should be. The common input being the signal that you're trying to pass through, right? So if you're doing it on a dual supply, that means the maximum voltage that it's allowed to pass is approximately 3.5 volts and negative 3.5 volts. That's on plus or minus 5. But if you try to do it with a single supply, it's between 0 and 5 volts. That's what the signal needs to be between. So what I did originally, which I spent a couple days doing, is I designed like a whole offset circuit with an op amp trying to offset this voltage so that it would match the common in here, and I could never get it quite right, right? And so that brings me back to all this stuff here. So I've got a little power supply that I've been using that has plus 12, minus 12, plus 5. And what I've done here is I've just made little transistor circuits so that I could get plus or minus 5 out of this supply, out of this supply here to do that, so that it will accept this signal coming from our digital to audio converter. Now, the other thing that I should have realized when I was reading the data sheet, or when I should have been spending more time reading the data sheet, is that if you power this with plus or minus 5 volts, that means all the logic levels need to be at a minimum of 3.5 volts for it to work. The ESP32, its logic level is 3.3 volts. So then I designed all these level pushing kind of like circuits. Sorry guys, this is really shaky. So these level shifting circuits to shift our channel selects high enough so that it'll actually change the channels on the 4051. Then the channels out of the 4051 are going into our time division multiplexing here. These are our sample and hold circuits. Those are powered with plus or minus 12. I'm still playing with the capacitor values to get it right, but I am making progress. It's not quite right and kind of demo worthy at the moment, but it is getting there. So that's kind of the progress that I've made right now. So I'm back into being able to see the chat. So in the midst of sort of like all that troubleshooting in addition to kind of playing with all the circuits and stuff like that. That's how far I've kind of gotten on this thing. I've got it to a point where it's playing. I'm able to toggle very cleanly now through each channel, which is ideal, right? Um, and uh, and it's passing a sine wave that's a 1K sine wave at this point, um, so that it's actually coming through cleanly on the other side. So that's really good news. The thing is now I want to hook up the SD card so that I can play some basic samples back with the time division multiplexing and tweak our capacitor values so that we're able to get the sounds simultaneously, right? Um, uh, uh, Through the multiplexing circuit. So that's kind of my next big chunk that I'm doing. So yeah, you'd be shocked how long I've been down here working on this, but because like there's all these other parts of the circuit that I had to design, right? Like these little um, voltage circuits and stuff like that, which will not be a part of the final sampler at all. We'll be using like regular voltage regulators for that. Um, so yeah, it's just been it's been a real ride in between like problems with these boards, and then I had an issue with the PCM 5102. I don't know what I was thinking, but I at one point I spent a day not getting any sound out of it, not realizing that I didn't have the frickin' the slave master mode chosen. So I was sitting here one day, just like started plugging in all the pins to ground to see if it would turn on, and then I realized that it turned on, and yeah, and it kicked on, and it's been working fine ever since. So I mean, the one thing about buying these modules like from Amazon or from AliExpress and stuff like that is a lot of them don't come with data sheets. So, like there's a really nice, there's something to be said for buying official modules um, from companies on these sort of projects, right? Because you get pretty decent documentation that comes along with it. Now, sometimes they match perfectly. In other cases, they don't, though, right? Um, to the official parts. So you just got to be careful with how you're doing things, right? So, anyways, yeah, it's been a journey, but I'm very confident. I'm very confident we're going to get this multiplexing to work. I really am. And we're going to have 8 outputs on this thing without any extra fluff. So, I'm happy about that for sure. I am confident that we're going to get it working though. Um, so yeah, it's just been really difficult. It was really difficult just figuring out the how to cleanly get signals through this multiplexer. It was a real challenge, real challenge. So anyways, yeah. So that's been basically what I've been doing like the past like 2 weeks, honest to God. And like late nights for me. Uh, you know, just, troubleshooting, all that kind of stuff. It's been wild. It's been really wild. Um, but yeah. So anyhow, but I am seeing that we are gonna need. I think we are gonna need a second, at least a second microprocessor, microcontroller. I think it is gonna be two S3s. So um, because we need something to handle all the peripherals, right? Um, Yeah, and other communication and stuff, right? So I'm thinking two S3s for this project. I'm still not sure, for sure. And that gets to uh, were there similar headaches when making the um not, you know what, to be honest with you, not really, because uh getting eight outputs through one digital to audio converter channel is it's a thing. It's a big thing. Like it's a, um it's a it it takes time to design it, right? Like we could have done it a lot faster for sure. It could be done a lot faster. We could just get four ESP32s, right? And have each one handling two voices each, right? And doing it that way and just call it a day. Um, but I think this is, yeah, it's a tall task, but I think, I think it'll be worth it, because I think, this part of the circuit is really, it's key to how the SP1200 actually works, right? And we really want to, if we don't get the exact sound and character of the SP1200, at least we want to try to get the feel, right? Um, and as far as I can tell, that between this and the clock, like that's kind of how it feels, right? So, um, because if you think about how quantization works, right? Um, and swing works, right? Uh, in terms of like even just like a digital to audio workstation, right? Um, how tight it is, uh, you know, um, the way that the way that sound is outputted from your computer is a lot different than this, you know. Um, and those sample and hold circuits, I think, add a little bit of like a feel to the overall machine. So that's why I'm taking a lot of. That's why I think it's worth our time. It's worth our time, and um, it's worth the little bit extra time that we're gonna take here. Uh, Smear into each other. Okay, right. Hey Brian, have you tried what multiplexer are you using, if you don't mind me asking? Are you using the same thing I'm using, the 4051, or are you using that one? Are you using that the one that you mentioned, the radio one? Because my understanding uh, is that if the switching isn't happening cleanly enough, right? I think you get that kind of like smearing across all the channels. And are you using the sample and hold uh, circuits as well? Like, are you using the capacitors and the buffers? Yeah, you're right, Abnorm. You're right, man. For sure. Okay. Okay. Well, let me see how I get along this week with this multiplexing stuff. Um, and we'll go from there. But just so you guys know, I've started to kind of like hammer out um, an idea on how to accomplish this, though. Um, because I think every kind of, I think like every, oh, you do have the sample and hold. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. Are you just using, are you just switching, are you just switching directly from the like GPIO pin directly to the inhibit pin and the channel select pins? Is that what you're doing? Like directly? Um, because I've heard that I only ask because um, I wonder if you're using, yeah, I'm just wondering if you need to do, you need to take an approach the same way that I'm doing it, where you're where you need to shift the logic level of the channel select to cleanly um, to cleanly uh, switch, you know, because if you're close to the logic level, you know, and you don't quite, right, like if you're close to the logic level, it might turn on, but it might not turn off that cleanly, right? Like you might get a little bit of noise going on, or it just might not be enough to really toggle appropriately. Like it might be toggling a bit later, right? If you're not just at that level that it needs to be. So that's something to look into. You'd have to, I don't know what multiplexers you're using, so um I would take a look at the data sheets though, because like that could be it, you know. Um I mean, I know that there's plenty of multiplexers out there that are 3.3 volt logic, but still worth looking into, you know, especially if you're powering it with something other than the 3.3 volts from the ESP32. That would be something. I mean, I learned that the hard way. You know what I mean? So, but I'll get you, you know, like once I get this worked out, I'll definitely loop you in um to the circuit and all that kind of stuff so that you can kind of verify it on your end too. That'd be really awesome, especially before anybody else like buys parts and, you know, gets all kinds of parts and stuff like that. 4067. Okay. And the FTS 3253. Okay. Okay. The 4000 series might be 5 volt logic. You might want to check into that. You might want to look at that because you might need to level shift to do the channel selects cleanly. Um, so yeah, take a look at that for sure. Um, yeah, but so what are we doing? What's September gonna look like, right? That's what everybody wants to know. Everybody wants to know, how is this gonna achieve in September? How are we gonna do this? Well, I think we need to go at a pretty reasonable pace for kind of progress on this. And I think if any, like I said, you know, before, if anything this week that I've learned is that these little bits and pieces of this sampler, it takes like real dedicated time for this stuff to happen, and or not to happen, but I mean just to be designed and kind of like worked out right on the breadboard or whatever. Um, what I'm thinking, well, there's nothing wrong with October at all. There's nothing wrong with October at all. And to be honest with you, that's kind of how things are shaping up. Um, my plan is, um, I think what we need to do is kind of tackle this in chunks, right? And I think that me and I don't think Abnorm, I don't think you were here for this conversation with Ed and Brian, but we had kind of talked about um, making it kind of like modular in a sense, like um, where we're able to kind of have these like little bits of components that we, like here's the, for example, like here's the power section of the SP1200. Here's the, here's the, PCB with all the faders and buttons as its own sort of like control module or whatever, right? Maybe it would have the screen on there too, right? Um, and then we would have like a section that is, maybe this is the PCB with the digital to audio converter on it, and and its microcontroller, and then here's the microcontroller that controls the peripherals. And then, we would have like, and here's the output jacks that are a part of like its own dedicated PCB kind of thing. And I think that's a really smart approach because it gives everybody a chance to get on the yeah, it allows openings. Yeah, exactly. It allows a lot of openings for add-ons and things like that, but it also allows us to kind of take things one step at a time and be really deliberate about what we're doing, right? And also, it allows everybody to get caught up in terms of um, the the parts, right? So it's not like we have to have this like super duper finalized bill of materials right this second before we start building everything, right? We can kind of take things in these little chunks and, allow things to kind of, get this, get that. It comes together, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, bada boo. And I think it'll flow a lot better. Yeah, easier to correct. Exactly. Exactly. So, like we kind of like how I did the ESP32 sampler, right? For example, like what I'm seeing is sort of like the first kind of like part of the project that we need to do is we need like a really awesome power supply that's going to be super clean and handle everything that we want to power, right? So, and assuming that this time division multiplexing stuff is working out how I expect it to work out, um, you know, we need plus 12, we need minus 12 for our op amps, likely because not only do we need op amps for this sample and hold, but I'm guessing that we're going to need it for the preamp going into our analog to digital converter, right? And then on top of that, we also need this thing's powered by plus 5 and minus 5, right? So we need like a nice power supply, you know? Is it the sexiest thing in the world to start off with? No, it's not. But but it's integral to kind of like the rest of the project, right? And the great part about that is that we can just take our time, we can breadboard it all to start, right? And then we can do like exactly how I did it with the ESP32 sampler. You breadboard all these little bits and pieces, you get it working how you think it's going to work. You make a PCB, you get it back, you solder it all together, and boom, you got your power module. And then you follow that kind of progress for each individual part. Yeah, take it easy, Brian. Have fun. And thanks for Thanks for coming out again. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all your feedback and input. Thank you very much. Abnorm, no, it's not AC. Well, it's an AC. I'm powering it off of. We're gonna be basically. Just give me one sec, Abnorm. Just give me one sec. So I'm basically gonna be. We're gonna be building on top of this little power module. This is one that's that I made. I made like three or four of them. They're from Frequency Central. It's a Eurorack power supply, so it's like a super clean power supply. All you need is a 12-volt AC adapter, and it spits out +5, uh, +12, and -12. So all we need to do is tack on a -5 to this guy, and we're rolling. So my thought is that we'll just reverse engineer this power supply, and then we'll have the appropriate stuff to make that happen, to make the rest of the project happen. So that's kind of the thought. Um, so uh, so the idea here is that my general plan. It's AC. It's an AC adapter. Yes, yes. It's powered with an AC adapter. Yeah. It's like a brick, a power brick, though. So we're not going to be getting into transformers and all that kind of shit. I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. Forget it. It's not worth it. You know what I mean? Like, and quite frankly, like, you know, I want this to be able. I want people to be able to do this without like blowing fuses in their house or potentially electrocuting themselves. You know what I mean? Um, that's important. So, but I'm just looking at. I'm just gonna pull up my calendar here. Just gonna pull up my calendar here. So I'm going to be working on this time division stuff this weekend. Um, Let me just pull up my chat on my phone, guys, so I can see if you guys say anything. I'm just looking at the my calendar. Actually, you know what? You probably guys don't need to take. Yeah, I didn't realize I had all my personal stuff, my personal stuff on that calendar. That's great. Let me just look on my phone, and then I can keep the chat up. Let's just do that. So, one thing that I want to mention is that I'm getting all the, I think I mentioned to you guys that in the past that I've had a couple people mention that they want to, other people that outside of this kind of like our group here, that they want to follow along with the project as well. So that's really cool. Um, and I've had a couple people ask me about Patreon. So I'm going to be moving kind of like the file sharing end of things to Patreon in September. And I was thinking that it would probably be like uh, mid-September. I'll probably be doing that. Um, and just so you guys know, like nothing changes in terms of uh, you guys being able to access this stuff. You just need to follow me on Patreon, and you'll be able to access it all for free. I'm not making people pay for this stuff, but it's more of like if people want to support what I'm doing, making all these videos and stuff, then they can. So, it's just like an option there if people want it. And I've got some like perks and stuff, but it's just like, it's nothing. It's just stuff that people might like. I don't know. I don't know. I've never done it before. So yeah, I'll be moving all the, just the file sharing stuff, to Patreon, and maybe just like, daily updates or something like that. Because like, I think I've mentioned to you guys before, this is what I'm doing right now. Like this is what I do for work. So, yeah. So anyways, I was thinking that the first video that I'm going to release is I'm thinking September 10th. Wednesday, September 10th. I'm going to be releasing the first video for the series. Uh, and it's not going to require any parts or anything like that. It's going to be like a simple intro video, just explaining how we're going to accomplish the project. Um, and yeah, and kind of like what the hope is, what the goal is. Um, you know, just try to get more people involved. I think it would be awesome if we had a lot of people, a good number of people participating. Because as I said, like it would be really amazing if at the end of this we could make like a compilation of songs that people made with their samplers. I think that would be amazing. Um, you know, so yeah, that's what I'm planning. It's kind of like September 10th is going to be kind of like just the intro to the project. Um, now the other thing is that I want to take the videos a little bit slower this time. Last with the ESP32 sampler, I was doing a video weekly, right? And I think that's just too fast. It's too fast for me because I don't get a chance to uh really explain things how I think they need to be explained. You know what I mean? Um and also I want to give people a chance to like check it out and see what we're doing and that kind of thing and ask questions. And so I think, going like every 2 weeks, maybe even every 3 weeks for videos, it might seem really slow. Um, but, a lot of development goes into those individual stages. So um, I think I think it will be better in the long run to have more space between videos. Yeah, not just life, right? It's just like I think it just makes more sense to do it bi-weekly, um, so that I have like a week of developing part of the project, the part that the video is going to be focused on, and then uh, you know, yeah, well, exactly. It gives more time for that, and plus, then somebody can watch the video the first week, order the parts, try building it the second week, and maybe by the end of the week they're asking a couple questions and, just there's a little bit more of a flow to it then, right? And then people aren't forced to just like buy $300 worth of components when they don't even know if it's going to work. You know what I mean? At least they can see a video, order the parts, and kind of like see a part of it being made kind of thing. You know what I mean? And then they go, okay, that works. I can buy these parts and I know I'm going to get something at the end of this, right? So I think that makes a lot more sense uh, for everybody, right? Um, so yeah, I'm thinking bi-weekly for right now, and I'm going to take it. And honestly, I think I'm going to take it in pretty small chunks to start, just to see how people are following along, see how people are like for example like I'm thinking obviously the first batch of videos is going to be about getting that power supply sorted out. So it'll be interesting, like abnormal be able to like in the first video maybe I'll talk about the parts that we need for the project. and then, and then kind of like the basic circuit. And then maybe the next video 2 weeks later is like the breadboarding portion of it and the PCB part of it, and kind of work in that kind of way, you know what I mean? Or something like that. I haven't really figured that part out of it yet. I'm just gonna kind of have it, I'm gonna feel it out kind of naturally. Um, and it might seem like it's gonna move a little slower than the ESP32 sampler, but as Abnorm had kind of mentioned, and Ed, you'd mentioned as well, and Brian is like, we might as well take our time and get it right, right? So yeah, that's kind of the plan for right now. September 10th, I'm just gonna do my little intro video, which means we can expect sort of like the first video on the power supply to be probably the 24th ish. But I know you're away, right, Ed? So that's great though too, right? Like doing it bi-weekly is that, you know, the next power supply video is 2 weeks ahead of that or whatever, right? So there's plenty of time to kind of like suss things out and that kind of thing. So I think it'll work. I think it'll work with a little bit more breathing room in between videos. And the thing is too is like depending on on how this multiplexing and switching stuff goes for me this week, you know, we might even push that first video to the 17th, right? Like close to October, like Abnorm was saying, right? So I think it's more important that we get everything right and we take it slow, and and you know, it'll be better. So, you feel me? Anyhow, so I've got a kick on here. Yeah, part one may be out before then. By the time I'm back, it wouldn't be long before the next one comes out again, depending when the first of the series comes out. Yeah, yeah. You do say a lot of things. You do. All valuable things. Everybody who comes to these live streams always has very valuable things to say, and I appreciate it a lot. I really do. But I've got a kick drum on here that I'm hoping is gonna play later, later tonight when I'm back down here, plowing away on this thing. Um, I'm very excited though. Uh, yeah, it is all about fun. It is all about fun, and at the same time, like I want something. I want to make something valuable for everybody. I don't want everybody to waste their time. It would make me feel really bad if everybody didn't have a really cool sampler at the end of it. It'd make me feel bad in my heart, my monkey heart. So, anyway, buddies, uh, I think we've done a lot of talking today. Done a lot of talking. Done a lot of sharing of ideas, and I think we can probably call it here for now. Just so you are all aware, is I'll likely, once I get this multiplexing stuff figured out, there's a very good chance that I might do a another live stream, but earlier in the week, next week, possibly as early as the 2nd of September. Um, my kid's sick today, so she might have delayed or canceled. We might have to cancel our long weekend plans, unfortunately. It'll work. I'm confident it's gonna work. I really am. I know it, textbooks don't lie to me. I know it's gonna work. It's just it's little stuff. It's little stuff. I'm sure of it. Um, and yeah, it's gonna be awesome. But anyways, guys, I hope all of you have a great long weekend. Um, yeah, yeah, she'll be fine. She's feeling okay, but she's feeling better today already. She's feeling better this morning, but yeah, we had to like I think we might have to cancel our plans. I'm not sure on that, 100% sure on that, but it's 85, 75% maybe. Maybe 50. Let's say 50. Let's say 50 for right now. Cuz you never know. We could take off Saturday morning, but they repair quickly, you know. Kiddos, they're little kids. But anyway, guys, I hope you both and Brian and anybody else who's been, watching the live stream, you know, uh, hope you all have a great long weekend. It's Labor Day. Enjoy the day off if you have it. Um, yeah. Hope the weather is nice wherever you are. It's the last weekend of the summer, man. Kids go back to school soon. So yeah. Hope you all hope you all have a great weekend. There is no beat making live stream this weekend. Um, um, no beat making live stream this weekend. There'll probably be um, probably start doing those again in September. Maybe the first week of September. I'll probably do them. Maybe. I don't know. Depends what my schedule's like. And depends how it's going with this. But I'm hoping to do that again very, very soon. Um, yeah. I think it's been a worthy break though, because I don't know. I feel like the formatting on it, I need to tweak the formatting on it. I'm working on it. All stuff I'm working on. Anyway, anyway, take it easy. And yeah, have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your week and have a great weekend. All right, guys, take it easy. See you later. Peace.